Hello and welcome to more nerdy rodent geekery. ZImage Turbo, as the name suggests, is pretty quick when it comes to image generation. As is the way of the nerd, let's do more than a quick surface skim and instead do a deeper dive into what we can and can't do with this new image model. You can use this at home on your own computer thanks to ComfyUI, and for those familiar with the channel, you'll know I like to use the rodent method for workflows. This means putting things neatly into different colourful little groups because I think it makes workflows both easier to follow and to update. If you're looking to neaten things up yourself, then don't forget you can pause the video or re-watch at any time to see what's going on and then do it for yourself. Also, if you find these videos helpful, or perhaps you just like all the work done for you already, then you can support the channel via the Patreon link in the video description. Your support helps me make even more workflows for you and to share these videos with everyone. The freedom to choose is, of course, yours, and a huge thanks to all supporters because you make this possible. Okay, let's get into the first workflow then. To start with, you might have noticed something called Nodes 2.0, which changes the look and feel of, well, all of these nodes. At the moment, it's possible to do a quick toggle via the Comfy menu. Let's go over here, and you've got a little Nodes 2.0 toggle there, so just click that, and you'll switch between Nodes 2.0 and the original nodes. As it's new and resistance is likely futile, I figured I'd try to make this first workflow as 2.0 friendly as possible. This was certainly more difficult than expected given the number of bugs and flat-out missing features in Nodes 2.0. I've got it turned on at the moment so I can show you some of the fun things you're likely to encounter whilst also showing you this workflow. Here we have the model loader first then, and we've got the typical diffusion model loader there with ZImage Turbo selected. Now for even more speed, you can use the torch compile, plus there's also a model sampling aura flow node in there for you to play around with if you wish. With a shift value of 3, there's actually no difference to when the node is bypassed, and honestly, I couldn't find a good use for it at all, but it's there anyway if you want to explore. For the clip loader, it's using Qwen 4.b, and as for issues, both of these text nodes, the prompt and the note box there, can randomly change size. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe you'll click on it and it will sort of randomly vanish and disappear off the screen. It's okay this time, but also when you change between the different versions, so there's Nodes 2, and we switch it back again. Things have changed. So yeah, who knows what's going on, and it's changed size again. So yes, all sorts of interesting little bugs. Also, if you want to change the color of your notes, good luck with that. Let's have a click on there. So we've got it, there's that color at the moment. Let's go to blue. No. Okay, green. No. Okay, so that doesn't work at the moment either. Anyway, I've got a starting prompt here for an anime rodent, and the model does pretty well even if you don't use a very long and detailed prompt, such as the one you can see here. We'll have a look at some of those in just a moment. The display issues continue with these fast group mute or bypass nodes. In Nodes 2.0, you'll find all of these get squished up, which is why I've added each of them individually instead. Over in the sampler group, even more fun is to be had, given that the get and set nodes from KJ nodes can't really be used in 2.0. That's why I've done all of these spaghetti links here instead. As ZImage uses CFG1, we've also got a basic guider in there, so no negative prompt at all. Perhaps you'd like to use a fixed seed whilst testing. Well, you'll be flat out of luck because Nodes 2.0 doesn't have any of that. Even if we try and put in a K sampler, let's go K sampler. There we've got seed, and no, it's just randomized the whole time. You'll see what I mean if I turn it off. There we go. So now we've got control after generate is randomize. Oh, it's gone. There's no control after generate, so you can't change that to fixed, which is a little bit annoying. All right, let's go back to 2.0 once again. There we go. So that's why I've put this node in here from ComfyUI KJ nodes. That gives you the ability to actually have a fixed seed. As ZImage Turbo is fast. You can get away with as few as 5 steps, but it's also happy going higher if you want to do 10, 15 or 20. The max resolution is 2048 by 2048, so I wouldn't try going much above that to start with. It's also worth pointing out that if you dare to use any custom nodes at all, you'll get a warning triangle. Workflow contains unsupported nodes, highlighted red. Of course, there are no nodes highlighted red, and typically everything runs okay. You'll just have a few display issues like we saw with that fast group bypasser and the get set nodes not actually letting you pick or set any other values. Still, the generated image in this case is great. We've got our anime rodent holding the postcard, and the text is nice and clear too. Depending on the settings you use, such as the sampler or scheduler, you can get slightly richer colours and more details, but I like to start with something close to the defaults. Whilst you can't do image editing yet, they haven't released that model, you can do the usual image to image like in this group here, simply by using an image latent. This is where you'll have even more fun trying to do this in Nodes 2, as the point key doesn't work when you try to select a denoise value. Oh dear. So instead, you'll be stuck using the plus and minus keys, which is very slow and annoying. I also have a note here with some information about some decent denoising ranges which vary depending on the scheduler you pick. DDIM, for example, requires much higher values than linear quadratic. The new image loader is fun as well. Want to pick an image you've already got somewhere? Well, you can still do that, but it isn't as fast as it was before and could leave you confused. For example, you've got a little folder icon here, so you can click on that and you get a pop-up to open file pretty much straight away. Let's just close that. But maybe you want to have an image you've got already somewhere. Well, maybe it's this one here, so let's click on that. Oh, nothing. Oh, there we go. And now we've got the input. So if you were, unfortunately, to click on it again, and here I'm just clicking on it each time because maybe you think it doesn't work because you've clicked on it and nothing's happening. It's just that it's really, really slow. And of course, the more times you click on it, the slower it is. Anyway, Nodes 2 issues aside, the resulting generation from ZImage is pretty decent, managing to create this from my utterly unrelated input image. She has a nice hat, is in the same position as the person, and some areas have become more anime and forest-like too, even if the overall image style is still photographic. If you want to change a specific area of an image, then the Inpainting group shows an example of that here. I've masked only her face, so it will limit the changes just to that area. This is managed by the Set Latent Noise Mask node, which is the only addition. And if we go and have a look at the result, there we go. So everything else in the image is just the same, but it has changed her little rodent face. Now, you can also vary the denoise value here. So if you go all the way up to 1, it will change a lot. And if you lower that slightly, like in this case, then at least it will keep some of the original features of her face. Okay, I'm going to pop out of Nodes 2.0 mode now and focus on the various things you can expect from ZImage Turbo, starting with some style tests. First up then is this prompt for a painting style, a fairly simple one with a cat and a dog in a matte oil painting style. Easy subjects and an easy style, hopefully. Let's see how well it does. For the image size, I've asked for 1280 by 1280. And the result, I think, is very good. You can see the cat on the shelf in the background there and the dog in the foreground, so it followed the prompt request well. There are plenty of small details which shift it slightly from the full photographic style, such as the lightness around the edges and what almost look like brush strokes. Very good, so time for a new style then. Given that it did so well, I'm going to try a much shorter prompt this time. Lady with an Ermine is a famous painting, but can it take the essence of that, add a little fire and some moonlight and change the style to that of a claymation figurine? The answer is Yes, it can. The lady herself seems to now have a tail, so it isn't perfect, but that can be changed easily by simply generating again with a new seed, and given that only takes a couple of seconds, it isn't too much to ask for. And I could certainly do with that warm-looking fire myself over these cold British winter days. Let's try that same prompt again, but with a little change at the end to give us a pixel art style instead. Once again, she has a bushy tail. Perhaps that's something that all humans need. Maybe it's trying to suggest we should get back to our rodent selves. I'd like to think so at least, or it could be a simple mistake. Although AI never makes mistakes, does it? Anyway, we'll find even more of those later on, but as far as prompt following and style goes, I'd give that a solid 9 out of 10. Same prompt, but another new style. Some models don't handle colourful pencil sketches very well, but can ZImage do it? Looks like it sure can. I like the way it's added the white border as if it's been done on paper. Plenty of lines there to indicate a pencil art style. And this time she even appears to be tail-free. Another one that can sometimes be difficult, this time it's charcoal sketch. If you've seen my previous videos testing this style, they often come out far too clean for charcoal. How do you reckon ZImage will do? And once again, it looks like it can do pretty well. It has a slightly smudged look, as you'd expect with charcoal. Perhaps a little too much detail, but I certainly think it has that dirty, gritty feel to it. Low poly 3D render this time, so we're looking for a somewhat blocky result. Which is just what it delivers. She is tail-free once again, and instead has a comfy thing to sit on whilst keeping her ermine nice and warm. This next one is where most image generators fail, cubism. But will ZImage fall at this hurdle as well? Why yes. Yes, it will. Far too much detail for my liking, although it has shifted towards the painting style at least. So is there anything we can do about that other than giving it a much longer and more detailed prompt for this style? The first test then is to try with a new scheduler, KL Optimal this time, which gives us something which still isn't really very cubist. It does have more painting-like qualities though. There's a little bit more damage. It's got all those sort of brush strokes and things. So I'd certainly suggest playing around with those settings for yourself as well. How about a different sampler this time then, and with even more steps going up to a massive 15? Will that help? Once again, still not really very cubist, but it does seem to be tending more that way at least. It's got sort of a even more damaged painting look now, and at least the light around the moon is becoming more blocky along with the rest of the night sky. Time to change the prompt up a little bit then, and this time I want a woodblock style rodent rogue purchasing his supplies at an ancient market stall. Just for giggles, I've also bumped the resolution up to 2048 by 2048. And I think the result is, well, very impressive, really. I do have a great many pouches, that's for sure. Ideal for keeping seeds in, of course. And the image itself looks great overall, ready to go adventuring. Fine, so it seems to do very well at a wide range of styles, but how about long prompts with multiple characters? This time my rodent mage is looking to purchase some seeds on board a spaceship being served by a blue-skinned, floppy-eared alien. How well will it follow that prompt? For the sampler and scheduler, this time I'm trying DDIM along with 10 steps for clarity. Okay, that seems to have done the trick. They each have their correct outfits. There are some delicious looking seeds, and even the nebula, it has there outside the spaceship portal window. Let's try a new combo then, this time DPM++ 2S with linear quadratic and 12 steps, which is also pretty decent. She does have double ears and some slight sort of blurring or lack of detail around her face there a little bit, but it's certainly still an impressive result. A quick compare then by going back to the default, so we've just got the 8 steps this time. Same sort of thing again, still some slight issues around the face and uniform details, but overall it's very nice. In this case, it's probably time to add a bit of a high-res fix then, isn't it? This time then I start with this generation. which gets passed over to this high-res fix group along with a latent upscale of 1.5, and this time we're using just 6 steps with a denoise of 0.46. We can see the resulting image there, but let's also move over to this image compare group to get a better look. Okay, if you're ready, that's the original image, and as I move across, you'll get to see the upscaled version, and yes, that is certainly adding a whole lot more detail. Various features are changing, but then you can always change the denoise value to your own preferences. You can really see the change on her skin and facial details and the nebula outside, and the rodent fur gets a nice boost as well. Awesome stuff. Another workflow variation then, and this time I'm testing the classic split sigmas with the default settings. Like you can see in this first result, there is a bit of an issue with the Cheese Explorer text, but she does at least only have one set of floppy ears this time. If we pop on over to the image compare once again, let's see how well the high-res fix does. Yep, that's definitely adding in a load more detail, and it even fixes the Cheese Explorer text as well. Lots of nice fur and robe texture detail in there as well. Love it. Time for even more power-ups then, and this time I've added a prompt enhance feature which uses an English version of the prompt that they provide. If you're looking for their prompt enhancing template, then it's available on their Hugging Face page there in that bit of Python. The original is in Chinese, so I just used Google Translate to turn it into English. It's using a local Ollama-powered LLM, Gemma 3.4b in this case, and that allows you to be even more creative with your prompting like I've got over here. A novel image style of forms without forms, non-linear shapeless shapes crystallized to create a wonderful scene knitted on the clothing of a rodent sorceress sitting on her throne in darkness. The preview node down here shows what the actual prompt is, so we should expect to see a rodent sorceress seated on a throne of stone wearing a dark grey tunic with thorny vines on it and a sign reading Veritas, and the overall scene being dominated by crystalline shapes. We can pop straight over to the image compare, and here we can see the initial image, which is okay, but the sign and her facial features are once again a little bit unclear. So let's see what the high-res fix version looks like as we go across, which is, yes, that's looking much better. The crystals look amazing, the sign gets fixed, and she even has a hood on those robes, along with a much clearer face. Very nice. How about this one then? If you're looking for your very own tarot card reading, picture your dream question in your mind if you're ready, because the large language model will do the generation for you with 3 cards atop a purple velvet cloth. Over in the compare group again, and your reading is complete. Make of it what you will, but it has given us 3 cards. The text is nice and clear already, but let's see what that high-res fix does as we go across. And yes, I think it's adding some nice details to each of the images there. The hermit getting some cool robes. And as we go even further, oh, okay, fine. So it's changed fortune to fortuna, but hey, we can always change that with denoise. Everything has been very good so far, apart from perhaps maybe the cubism, but where does it fail hard? Well, mythological creatures is certainly one place I found it to be lacking. Here, I'm using the Cyclops test, as often these models have difficulty generating things with one large eye. As you can see from Generation 1, ZImage is no exception. He does have a great looking face, and as we go across with the high-res version, yes, it's added more details, but unfortunately he still has 2 eyes, which is very un-Cyclops-like. Trying again with a faun or satyr, which, as you know, is a goat-like creature, often playing the pipes of Pan. However, this is what ZImage gives us, which isn't really very mythological at all. Still, it is a good looking image, and the high-res fix still adds lots of nice detail. It's just a shame it isn't really what I was looking for. This time I've asked for a random creature, so we can pop down here and see what the LLM chose, and this time it's gone with the subject of a griffin. It should be a legendary creature with the body, tail and back legs of a lion, the head and wings of an eagle. In the compare node, we can see the first result, which isn't actually too bad. It's a decent painting style, some nice wings, and as we go across with the high-res fix, okay, yeah, we're getting some great feathers there, and oh, all right, fine, we've got the face now of a lion instead of an eagle, so a whole lot less griffin-like, even if the overall image aesthetic does seem a little better. Still, I guess we can't have everything all at once, but if you like getting all nerdy with workflow details and stuff, then don't forget to like and subscribe for even more Nerdy Rodent geekery.
Ooh, nerdy rodent. He really makes my day. Showing us AI in a really British way.